Hi, I'm Tanya, and welcome to Faithful Flow. This is Wyatt, resting in the corner. This is going to be a quick movement snack to show our hips some love. So we're going to do several moves to kind of help alleviate some tension and some stress in the hips, and we're going to move them in all directions. So we do have a pigeon pose planned, or I do have one planned rather. So if you like to use like a prop or something to help you lift your hips a little bit, you want to go ahead and grab that. I can do pigeon pose on the ground, but sometimes in these quicker classes, I'm not quite stretched enough for them. So I'm going to use a blanket today to lift my hips. We're going to start with a seated figure 4. So on the ground here, feet about hips width apart, fingertips can come behind you, just fingertips on the ground, puff the chest, and then you're going to bring your left ankle on top of your right thigh. Send that left knee away from you, flex the right foot, and then you can begin to walk this right leg in a little bit to intensify it, or walk it out if you need a little bit less intensity. Now, keeping the chest lifted, you can stay here and maybe begin to kind of rock this right leg back and forth. And as you do that, you'll bring a little bit of movement and kind of some lubrication into this left hip joint. And we'll be here for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Come back through to center. Release this left leg, and then other side. So right ankle on top of left thigh. Send the right, send the right knee away from you. Fingertips behind you. Lift the chest, and then adjust the pressure by adjusting the space of this left leg, finding somewhere that's comfortable but providing a bit of opening. And you can stay like this, or begin to rock this left leg back and forth, which takes the right leg with you. Bring some movement into that right hip. We're here for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And then come back through to center. Release that. Sit up nice and tall here. And then feet are going to stack a little wider than hips width apart. And we're just going to allow the knees to fall from side to side. A few more times from side to side. Once more. And if you feel yourself crawling up your mat, that's pretty normal. This next time that the knees are going to come over to the left, you're going to shift your weight onto the shins and lift your hips and sit back down. And we're just going to do that to each side a few times. So over to the right, lift up and back down. Knees over to the left, lift up and back down. And again to the right and up and back down. We're going to do once more to each side. So to the left, lifting up and back down, and over to the right and lifting up and back down. And then this time when we come to the left, we're going to find a deer pose. So taking this kind of like little Z sit shape with the legs, the feet are in close to the body, sit up tall. We're going to twist to the left. So we're twisting over this extended left leg. Right hand can come to the outside of the right leg, left hand anywhere that feels good. And then lifting up through the head and neck and chin, we're just going to look back to the right and then look to the left. Again, to the right and to the left. Once more to the right. This time when we look to the left, we'll stay here for 3, 2, 1, unwinding knees up and over to the right. I'm just going to spin to face you. So deer pose here. And then we're going to lift up through the spine, twist over the right leg. Left hand's going to find the outside of the left leg. Right hand behind you, sit up tall. And then you can look to the left and then to the right. And again to the left and to the right. Once more, looking to the left and to the right. We'll stay here a few breaths. All right, coming back through to center. You can unwind these legs. We're going to make our way into down dog. So just hands to the ground, step back, down dog pose. You can wag the tail, pedal the feet, take a few breaths here. We'll add a variation in a moment. All right, and then find a little bit of stillness.
And then we're going to add a figure 4 stance here. So to do this, I like to shift forward a little bit, bring my left ankle on top of the right thigh, and then as I shift my hips back, I send this left knee towards the back of the room. Now, put a little gentle bend in this right knee to make sure you're not hyperextending, and that right heel can be lifted. It doesn't need to be down, or you can shorten your stance a little bit to bring it to the ground, whatever is more comfortable for you. Now, this left foot is hanging, the one that's hanging in the air. I want you to flex it so it's nice and active. Breathing here for 3, 2, 1. From here, we're going to shift forward. We're going to make our way into pigeon. So this left shin comes to the ground. If you're using a prop, you can slide it underneath the left hip and then find your pigeon seat. Now, peek back at your right leg. Make sure that the top of the leg, top of the foot's on the mat. Sit up nice and tall. And then you can adjust the intensity here by the placement of this left shin. So the closer the left shin is in parallel to the front of the mat, the more intense it's going to be. The closer that heel is towards the groin, the less intense it's going to be. Let's inhale here. And exhale, you can fold forward, maybe stack your hands, rest your forehead on your hands. Take a couple of breaths there. We'll be here for 3, 2, 1. We're going to add a twist. So this is an option. So you can stay where you're at. Otherwise, right forearm stays to the ground. Left hand presses into the left thigh. A little bit of pressure down as you lift up through that left chest, shoulder, and gaze up. Breathing here for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Unwinding it, both hands to the ground. Lift the shoulders, curl those toes under, lift the hips, and right leg can come up and back. If you'd like a little 3-legged dog to counter it. And then set that left foot down, down dog. Take a breath. Let it go. And then you can move your prop over so that it's ready for the other side. We're going to start with that down dog figure 4. So shift forward a little bit so you've got plenty of room to move. Right leg lifts up, crosses over to the left thigh, and then send those hips up and back. Put a little bend in this left knee. Adjust your spacing as much as you need, and then flex this floating foot. A few breaths here. Last full breath cycle. And then shifting forward, bringing this right shin forward, we're setting up pigeon pose. So right leg on your prop if you're using one. Peek back at this left leg, top of the foot's on the mat. Excuse me. Sit up nice and tall through the chest. And then when you're ready, if you'd like to, you can sleep your pigeon. Hands stack, forehead on the hands. Full breaths in and out. A few more breaths here before we add the variation. So you can stay here or add that twist. So for the twist, left forearm to the ground, right hand presses into right thigh, press that to the ground, lift up to the chest, shoulders, and gaze up towards the ceiling. For 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Unwind both hands to the ground. Lift the chest, curl those back toes under, lift the hips. If you like that little 3-legged dog, for the counter stretch you can. Right leg up and back, bend the knee, stack the hip. And then set it down, down dog. Take a breath. Let it go. Knees to the ground. You can move this prop out of your way. Find a seat. We're going to find a cow face pose.
So you can start that left leg long, right leg up and over. You want to stack the knees, or for full cow face pose, that left leg comes in. So both legs are tucked in close to the body. You're wanting your knees to be stacked. So with pigeon pose, the knee was on the outside of the hip, and with cow face, it's towards the inside, so more towards in line with the belly button. So stretches slightly different parts of the leg there in the outer hip. Inhale wherever you're at, sit up nice and tall. Exhale, if you have room, you can begin to walk forward. Now think about keeping your chest lifted and spine long. So if you round your spine, I'll show you from the side. Sometimes what that does is it actually like alleviates the pressure in the lower back and the hip area. So rather you keep the back straight, even if that means you can't fold as far in, and that way you'll feel a little bit more stretch. Wherever you're at, hold there. I'm just going to spin to face you again. Last breath. And then sit up tall. And then we're going to lean to the side. So right arm's out to the side. Left arm's going to sweep up. We're going to lean to the right. Keep the chest lifted. A few breaths here. And then come back through to center. And then we're just going to switch. So this time the right leg's going to be on the bottom so it can be out straight. Left leg crosses on top. Stack the knee. Left ankle by the outside of the right hip, or involve the right leg as well. Both feet in close to the groin. Or not the groin, but the outer hips. Sit up nice and tall. Inhale. Keep that length. Begin to fold forward. Think about keeping the length in the lower back. Breathing here. And we're here for 3, 2, 1. Sitting up tall. This time we're going to lean to the left. So left hand crawls out to the side. Right arm sweeps up. Lean over to the left. Keep that chest and armpit open. Gaze up. And then come back through to center. Take a breath. Unwind the legs. All right, we have one pose left, which is going to be frog pose. So I'm going to show you 2 variations. So the first one is against the wall. This is going to be a much more gentle option. So if you've got a blanket or something, you can use that or move your mat. You're going to come towards the wall, and your feet are going to come up onto the wall. Now you want some space between your hips and the wall, about the space of the length of your shins here. And then you just want to put your feet on the wall, allow the toes to fall away, so away from the hips here, and then just allow the knees to open as much as comfortable. You can stay here or apply a little bit of pressure by placing your hands kind of on your thighs. So that's option 1. That's a bit more gentle. Our second option is full fish pose, which I like to actually stack my mat or roll my mat a little bit so I've got a little bit more padding. And then this is a much more intense option. So knees are going to come down onto the mat, and you're going to begin to kind of I'm not sure what the word I'm looking for, shimmy maybe, but begin to send your knees wider. Now, take a peek at your shins and your knees. So you want about a 90-degree angle here between your thighs and your shins, and then your feet are nice and active too, so they're super flexed. Once you're in this, you can come down onto your forearms, and we'll be here for a few breaths. Now, after a few breaths, you might feel that you've got a little more room to kind of lower the hips a bit more. And if that happens, then you can just kind of use your hands to help you scooch the knees a little wider. Scooch, I think that's the word I was looking for earlier. Now, check in with your hips. If your hips start to shift forward, you're going to lose some of the stretch. So I want your hips to be more in line with the knees. And if that means you need to lessen the intensity, so like walk the knees in a little closer so that you can have the hips in line with them, that's fine. That alignment is going to give you a bit more of a stretch than it would shifting your hips forward just so that you can get them lower to the ground. Now, this is a movement snack, which means it's a shorter class. We're not going to be here for too long today. But frog pose is one of those poses that it fits really well into like a yin style class. If you can hold this pose for like 2 or 3 minutes, sometimes even up to 5, can do a world of good, and you might feel like you kind of have a new pair of hips after that. We don't have time for that today because this is just a short little class. So we'll be here for an additional 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Now to come out of this, if you're on your front side like this, you're just going to shift your hips forward, bring your shoulders all the way over your arms. Once you're there, release to your belly, and then kind of tick-tock the legs behind you. You can bend your knees and allow the legs or the feet to kind of windshield wiper for side to side. If you're on the back, it's kind of just going to be opposite to that. You're just going to use your hands to help you lift your legs up until they meet, and then you can roll onto either side. Okay, from your side or your belly, you can just make your way back up to a seat, and we'll end in just an easy seat. Take a couple of breaths there. So sit up tall, crossing the legs, maybe resting the palms face up, one on top of the other, a little tuck with the chin. Maybe close the eyes, take a breath in and out. And again, in and out. All right. Thank you so much for joining me. I hope that you feel a little better in your hips, that they feel loose and like they've had some movement. I hope to see you again soon. Grace and peace. Bye. Hi again, and thanks for your time and interest in Christian yoga. I hope that you found this video uplifting and encouraging, and that it's helping you to strengthen your walk with the Lord. If you're enjoying these classes, please like or comment on the video, and remember to subscribe. Those simple steps can help to spread the word about Christian yoga. If you have any sort of class, topic, or pose tutorial that you'd like to see, I'd love to create something specifically for you. You can mention those in the comments below, or you can reach me directly at my website at faithfulflow.com. Thanks so much for being here. Grace and peace. Bye.